All right, thank you for staying with us. It's still Sports Tonight. Before I go on to introduce Dumnadi Okonta, who has joined us now, let me read a few more comments on Twitter. Adeoti Damilola at Dami Acacia. Wow. Says the kids are so humorous. They did CR7 and Rooney celebrations. They are brilliant. Those kids are catching up fast. I mean, they watch and they're really enjoying themselves. Yemi Akiremi at YNZ Online says, I love the great job Channels TV Sports crew are doing. Kudos to you guys for Channels Kids Cup. That's what he says. And I rep Campus 360 hashtag CFC at Shegun at Uncle_Shegun says that boy called Folabi plays for St. Paul. He says that boy is such a talent. I just hope that talent will be nurtured. That's what I rep Campus 360 hashtag CFC at Shegun at Uncle_Shegun is saying. Afolabi Yusuf, mark that name, and in the next few years, hopefully, this boy will be playing at the highest level. Dumnadi, welcome back to the show. Let's just update you around the UEFA Champions League. I'm told that there's been a goal now at the Nou Camp. Barcelona are now 1 goal up. All right, so it makes it a lot more difficult for Manchester City. So it's Barcelona 1, City 0. But there's still a lot of time to play in that game. But let's come now. Good news. The Flying Eagles today made us proud in Senegal. They are through to the final. Convincing win. Well, difficult game, but they did the job. They did what they needed to do. 2-0 over Ghana.
Expected. They played the Ghanaian team in one of the two-legged build-up in Ghana. The first leg was 2-2 draw. The second leg was 2-0 victory for the Flying Eagles. So it's more or less deja vu. Goals scored by the players are expected to have scored.
Yes, and the penalty from
Rangers International Football Club scored the first goal, and the penalty goal by the usual penalty taker, who has becoming. I will count the number of penalties he has scored, so that I will put it in the record book, because we know how some of these European keeps record. They will tell you this player has never lost a penalty, so we start counting the number of penalties he has played and the one he has scored, so that we put these penalties in the record book, which will be credited to his name. So they are through to the final. One more. Looking at who they will take on.
Tomorrow we'll be knowing who will be playing.
Yeah,
we saw it on the screen. West African derby. I mean, it's a tournament dominated by West Africa. Mali, Senegal will be playing tomorrow, second semi-final. But only this tournament, these boys, apart from maybe the Cote d'Ivoire game where they were pushed a little bit, looks like they are a class above the rest.
Yeah, so you need to give them credit. Against Cote d'Ivoire, the Manu Garba arrested 5 players, and these are key players. Prince Zuemego didn't play. Ifeanyi Mati didn't play. One of the most creative midfielders in that team didn't play. He played. Okay. Christian Yagbara, I think, played his first game. Yeah, so it shows that there's depth in the team. And what he did for them is that some of these players rested, and it became an advantage against Ghana. Ghana had to play their full squad because they needed, the last game against I think Mali in the last group game. So
that was the game they should have avoided Nigeria.
Absolutely. So like Nadi said, playing the Ghanaians in the friendly last month, home and away, beat them and drew in Tema and Accra, also afforded Manu Garba the opportunity of knowing the team.
The Ghanaians can throw
at really had no excuse to fail, because sometimes the coaches will say, we don't know much about this team. It's the same thing that they played in the two-legged friendly, and he has capitalized on that to get to the final. So they have promised that they want to win the title, because as it is now, they have not won anything. So let's hope by this weekend they will be able to get. But whether or not they win, I think these lads have proved themselves that they have what it takes to play at the biggest level.
Dumnodi, at the beginning of this tournament, we said our target is to get a World Cup ticket. We've gotten the World Cup ticket. We're doing better than just the World Cup ticket now. We're looking good to even win this tournament. But between now and May, very little time left for us to turn this team into world beaters. African level is one thing, world level is another thing. What would you want to see in this team, Manu Garba, this Manu Garba team, before we play the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand in a few weeks? Because it's not just a few weeks. May is around the corner.
Tony, there's a particular tournament the last
Tournament de France
they played, even though the team didn't do very well at the World Cup, but that was an opportunity to strengthen the team. I think this the NFF should look at that window. Whether it's going to fall in, whether it's going to be a international tournament in France before the World Cup.
Which players would you want to see? What areas of the team would you want that they should look at? They should strengthen. It's not looking good enough. And can
if
they
you have
at the World
players
Cup?
whose club will release them for this tournament, we can't get those players.
But other countries here with foreign-based players have those players released by their clubs.
So, I don't know.
Why was it an exception for Nigerians?
I don't know the kind of arrangement the federation have with these clubs. Because most of these players, the Ivorian team, the Senegalese team, are from France.
Even the Ghana team.
Yes, I don't know the kind of arrangement they have to get their players released. For us, we find it difficult. Maybe because you just signed a deal in Belgium, you can't allow those players.
Or maybe our players are more useful to their teams.
We don't know, but I think if we can't get these players to it, the truth of the matter is that we can't get these players. Some of these players did play, some of them did play, and now did not play at 17. Upan did not play at 17. Yaga did not play at 17. These are players who didn't play at 17 level, but they still a key member of this squad, especially the Upan guy. So I want to say, if you want to make any adjustment, I think it's just maybe one or two players. But the truth of the matter is that we can still hold on to this team. But let's play quality friendly. The tournament you mentioned is very key. If that tournament still holds every year, and there is usually it holds to prepare teams for the World Cup. I don't know. And at that time, we always play the World Cup later in the year, but I don't know if the timing would affect that tournament in France anymore. But they continue from where doing this stuff. What would you want to see in this team before we take on the rest of the world? Because this team is not a perfect team yet. And the worry for a lot of people is that you will assume that because they are so dominant in Africa, they are so dominant in Nigeria, beating Premier League clubs, that they are ready to take on the world.
I think Manu Garba had so much confidence in the players available to his squad. And I also want to figure out that he didn't push the NFF, to seek maybe dialogue with some of this club. They read his body language. The man has always maintained that he will use the players available to him, and that he had, implicit confidence in these players. So I think that settles it. But you see, going to the World Cup, like we said here last week, at that level, you have players who are already national team